Welcome to the Life Coaching with Ryan podcast, episode 2. Hello, fellow Piapolis of Earth. Welcome back. It is episode 2 of our fine podcast. I am continuing my conversation with Jenny Ward in this episode, and we are transitioning from labels to self-talk. Enjoy. Weird. Okay, transition time. Because we're going to go down some other rabbit hole and get lost forever, which we would love, but that doesn't serve the purpose that we're trying to meet right now. So when I was talking to Erin, my partner, about what the topic was for today, I said, it's words. We're talking about, labels, self-talk mantras. She went, I think there's a quote by Margaret Atwood about that. And the quote is, a word after a word after a word is power.
That's cool.
So I think that's a good segue into talking about self-talk.
Yes.
Because to those who think about self-talk, they probably notice a lot of our conversation about labels kind of was implying things about self-talk, because there's a lot about messages to ourselves.
Yes.
So there's a lot of power in the words that we say to ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. What was your first reaction when I read that quotation?
Well, I mean, whether you use your power for good or for evil.
Yes.
I feel, for me, what resonated was how powerful and palpable it was to be my own worst enemy. And, I went through the period where I blamed my parents, obviously, because I took on their words and they became mine. And then I think once you become aware and you start doing your own work, you can no longer do that. And you have to really own and take accountability for the ones that you've chosen to hang on to. And you have chosen to say, this is it. I'm always wrong. I'm always, there is an addiction to negative self-talk. And for someone that has become more aware of mine, I'm like humbled by how truly addicting it is to completely harm myself. And I've been writing a lot about it because I'm sort of looking at my 9-year-old self and wondering if or my daughter or students that I teach, would I ever say this to them? And that question is my latest mantra. Would I ever say that to my daughter? No. Why am I choosing to say this to myself? And I know it sounds horrible, but it's another tool for me to be destructive. Yeah. And as someone that has had eating disorders, has not taken care of myself, has taken outside pain and inflicted it on myself through shame and punishment, words are the most destructive out of all of the wonderful ideas that I've tried. Because, check. How else can I destroy myself creatively?
Read the book and learn more. Lots of it in there. Hard to read sometimes.
I'm so
I love
good.
you so much. So I'm reading the book and I'm going, am I going to put this down right now? Maybe I'll just skim over this section.
Like, how can I destroy myself? But as a recovering, with all of that, words is my last one. Words is like my last way of being. How am I using my words to literally take away from this moment or take away from fully feeling love from somebody? And how am I taking it away? And it's really down to worth.
Isn't it always?
And it's also down, worth, but
am I enough?
Am I enough? Or I'm actually getting everything that I want. How can I destroy this moment? Because it is so uncomfortable.
Problem.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the upper limit problem?
Yes.
Yeah. Look it up. I want to talk about it right now. I want to talk about this right now.
So words, yes. I mean, being more aware, and we've talked about this, but I feel self-talk is the most undervalued in all modalities that I've ever went into, all of my self-help stuff, and I hate that label. I don't need no help.
Obviously. We all do. Because let's be real, we all do.
We all do. We're all broken. Broken is another great label.
Yes, it is another great label.
But, no one really talks about, we talk about how to create a life you want or be mindful of nonviolent communication. And there's so many wonderful modalities, but we don't talk about the demons within our own brain. that we choose to play with on a moment-to-moment basis. And I say choose because we now have the ability to do that. When people are like, well, it's just who I am. I'm like, kind of not really.
That goes back to the dimensions of self thing again.
It's actually not true.
It's not actually not who you are. That's how you're choosing to be. That's not the core of who you are. That's an option.
Yeah.
If you want to choose that option, go ahead. You'll have the life you have with that option, and you continue to choose that option. You could also choose another one.
It's always choice.
If you'd like.
I think for me, my words, I think what I really liked doing, I'm saying sarcastically, my words became my experience.
Yeah.
See, there.
Right.
They left, so I must be very unlovable.
Yeah.
You are unlovable. Let's attract somebody.
Who
Now, here's the real law of attraction. Like, this is actually the real deal.
Yes, it is the real deal.
I mean, I attract someone that's like, you're not lovable. You're too much. I'm like, see? And I solidify.
Right.
So how do I start from my inside voice, literally, to then see what comes at me externally? And once I have a healthy relationship entering that loves me for who I am, is just sitting there, I'm like, I must be doing something here to be able to sit in this moment with this person. That's my latest experience, is having this wonderful man like show up that just like loves me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my work, man. Yes.
Congratulations. High five.
Thank you. It's like, thank you. It's like evidence based, but it starts here.
Yeah.
What am I willing to accept from somebody? Oh, I'm already talking like that to myself.
Becoming aware of that, I think it's so two things I want to touch on to loop into what you're talking about. One is something from the Toltec practice, and one is Brooke Castillo. Are you familiar with Brooke Castillo? So just touching the Toltec one real fast based on what you were saying, that there is a danger in using the outside world as validation for our inside worlds. Right? Because there's a disconnect between what we say we want and what we're acting out that we want.
It's true.
I want love. That is the core. But you put these caveats on it that lead you to attract the person who abuses you, because in your brain you're still saying, I'm not valuable.
Right.
So then if you're only choosing the outside world as evidence of that, then you stay caught in that loop.
Yes.
So there has to be a moment of awareness. A moment of awareness brings a pause that allows for choice.
Yes.
And then once you have choice, then you have power.
Yes.
So now you can go, oh, it's true that I want love. It's true that I keep telling myself I'm not valuable. Of course I attracted conditional love that requires me to be a certain way in order to receive it, to prove that I'm valuable, right? So short-circuiting that process. And part of that, when you were talking about, would I say this to my kid, would I say sort of else, is Brooke Castillo with her model, which is CTFAR, circumstances, thinking, feeling, action, results, is that she talks about your thinking always leads to your results, which I partially disagree with, because I think there are circumstances in which your thinking will bring an unexpected result that can change your thinking.
That's true.
But that's getting into really deep, how we can have multiple layers of thought at the same time, and I don't. That's
conscious,
not this
subconscious,
conversation. But she said, as someone who is self-employed, would you think about yourself separately as a boss, as an employee? Would you ever say that to an employee? If you were an employee, would you ever accept your boss saying that to you?
Oh, I like that.
And that has been part of my journey in the last few months.
Yes.
It's just like, I was so happy because I started listening to her in, when was it? October? So I had a few months of listening to her before I fully branched on my own to start my own business. So I already had that in my brain. So that when I'd have these moments when I started to judge myself for not doing enough work today, or not reaching out to have that conversation with someone, or not send that email, or forgetting to do that thing, or not writing out my victories for the day, or whatever it was, I went, would I ever say that? Like, I was an administrator at a school. Would I have ever said that to one of my coworkers?
Right, no.
One of my teachers, would I ever have said, you suck?
Right.
God, how shitty that you didn't follow through and do that thing.
You never get anything done.
God damn it. No, instead I would have been like, hey, have you thought about doing that thing? Because
are you okay? How you doing?
Right. What's the priority right now?
Right.
Is there something that I don't know that is a higher priority?
Right.
Well, I was dealing with this thing with this kid. Okay, it's the same thing for me. Oh, yeah, I took extra time to send that email to Jenny because I was desperate to do a podcast with her. Right. So I ended up doing that instead. Right. It wasn't what I planned today, but was it wrong?
Right.
Was it bad? There's 1,000 ways to do it right and only a few ways to do it wrong. Is one of my on a loop self-talk.
Yes.
things right now. Is that?
I think self-talk is ginormous. I think it is truly a cancer in us, that if we aren't aware of how we communicate, it transfers actually down to, if we're a parent, it transfers down to our kids. And for me, it was like, do I want to give my daughter this inheritance? Or do I want to show her that I'm willing to look at the way I talk about myself?
Right.
And also question and be curious when she says certain things. Like, I'm not very good at this. What do you mean you're not very good at this?
Yeah.
Like, and it's okay if she fundamentally feels that way, but I'm always interested in, is it because someone's shared this? Like, where do we come up with these ideas about ourselves? And can we change them? And I mean, that's where the title is, like, who said so?
Yeah.
Is really a question that, you know, I tend to continue to ask, like, well, who said so? Like, who says I can't?
Where did I get this message from? Yeah. How valuable is this message to me right now? Because sometimes messages that seem negative are temporarily valuable.
True.
And it's just, again, do I want to live there?
Right.
Is this serving me anymore?
Right.
No, right? Again, part of that is removing judgment. Part of that is being able to be with what's happening for you right now. Yeah.
Yes.
There was more on that thought, but again, I'm sure we could talk about it forever. So there's something you said specifically about self-talk. Oh, I remember now. It was, I'll edit that out in post. No, I won't, because I want everyone to see me fumble, because I think that's valuable, for people to see things that aren't perfect. Yeah, I think it's valuable to see things that aren't perfect. So, how we say, of course, I lost my thought again, because I went down that whole other path. That people forget their external work is internal work.
Yes.
So it's not just stop yelling at your kid. It's what is running through your head in that moment when you feel compelled to yell at your kid. Oh, I'm feeling disrespected. What was giving you the message that you were feeling disrespected? And really breaking it down to what is that core thought? Yes. What is that core experience? And sometimes you don't need to know what it literally actually was. You don't have to dredge up the memory to heal it. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes it's just being aware.
Sometimes it's just accepting it. I'm feeling challenged right now.
Right.
Oh, well, how can I address this? Is there a better way to address this than yelling at my kid? And this all happens in an instant. Yes. Right? It takes years of practice.
Yes.
But once you've had those years of practice, it can turn on a dime. I can have a moment. Kids, I got a reputation as the Zen teacher because after 5 years of dedicated daily mental practice, paying attention to how I was in the classroom, paying attention to what triggered me and set me off, paying attention to these things, and just being with it and accepting it allowed me to be able to, when I would flare up, because it didn't go away. Let's be real. It's not that I suddenly was never angry. When it flared up, I usually had the opportunity to be like, is this how I want to be? Is this where I want to be? What's going on? Is there an unaddressed issue I can address right now? 99 times out of 100, I could be like, hey kid, hey student, I just want you to know this thing just came up in me. Yeah. When you said that. Yes. I'm not saying you need to change. I'm just saying you need to hear that this is what happened so we can have better communication. And 98 times of those 99 times, the kid had a moment where they were like, oh, vulnerability, honesty, safety. Yes. You are expressing yourself safely and calmly. Yes. You're inviting me to be able to do the same. Most of the time, they would respond favorably. Yes. And go, oh, I'm sorry. And they meant it. Yep. It wasn't that reflexive, like, I've been taught since I was 3 to say I'm sorry to everyone whether or not I am, but in a genuine whole other podcast. Yeah. But being able to just be present, and then we would be able to continue the conversation amicably. Yes. And they hopefully learned a lesson that they could take that risk and be vulnerable in this situation. Well, they certainly could be with me. Yes. I'm really grateful for and proud of the relationships I built with my students because I was able to be present, be vulnerable. Yes. And that translated to them, Ryan is always calm. Mm-hmm. Ryan has it together. Mm-hmm. I'm safe in Ryan's presence. Yes. And they were.
But if you're choosing to be seeking the happiness box, none of that is possible. Yeah. That's why I feel it's like you can't, those feelings that come up are bad. Right. right?
Because you label them as bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I want to be happy parent. I want to show Facebook friends that we're all happy, you know, but on the inside I want to die. I want to scream. I hate my life.
Yeah.
My kids are annoying the crap. I mean, it's all and it just keeps
You keep pushing
happy,
it back down.
happy, take pictures, you know. Those are the people.
Broadway, can you tell?
Right.
Broadway performer.
It's like that is destructive, right? And those are the people that end up just like losing it because there's no, and then they're not
authenticity
happy.
is gone.
Yeah.
They're not really with themselves. They're not able to be present in their circumstances.
So afraid of feelings.
Self-editing.
Yeah.
I call it.
When I do like anger workshops, it's wonderful to see like parents be angry.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's so scared of anger. You know, it's like it's just there. It's teaching you. It's up for a reason. Your boundaries are crossed. You're super cranky. You know, you weren't yourself at all day. Yeah. You know, you're living in Silicon Valley and you don't have a Tesla. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Whatever it happens
it's
to
just
be.
like
right. Whatever.
Keeping up with the Joneses. You
Yeah.
know, but anger is there to be expressed in healthy ways.
Yeah. Levels of energy. They all have value. They all have value.
That box of like, these are good feelings, these are bad feelings.
Yeah.
This is what you can feel, this is what you can't feel.
Negative emotion, positive emotion.
It's all crap. It's not true. I'm just saying. That's my experience.
There you go. Now it's safe. We made clear it was an opinion and not a fact.
Just saying.
From my perspective. From my perspective.
All feelings are good.
Yeah, when I do my... I'm intending to break down and do additional videos that go along, like blogs that go with the podcast and so on and so forth, and do some little side conversational videos occasionally. And when I do, I'm going to have a guy work with me on making little graphics, so that when I say something from judgment, I'll just like point up while I'm talking, and there'll be a banner that's like incoming judgment, right? Or like klaxons will go off, like warning, warning, warning. This is an opinion being stated as a fact. Just be aware. Because
forgot to say in my experience.
Did I use my I statements today? I don't think I used my I statements today.
Right?
Yes. And again, we're being sarcastic, but that is like the basis of our practice as nonviolent communication. So we always do the I statements, the I feels, and the whatever else, and we honor that. But we still make fun of ourselves for it. That's just kind of like part of this. It's part of how we do this.
You have to laugh.
I think so.
Especially at yourself.
I think I think that cutting off your emotions you cease to be able to have genuine humor.
I agree.
About it. I think that it's that same, like, how can you love yourself?
Yes.
If you're denying that part of yourself.
Yes.
It's like, again, that self-editing, that pruning. Like, I need to fit into this mold. I have to draw within the lines that were given to me, so I'm going to literally chop parts of myself off, which you never really can.
No,
they're still there. Then they're just sad.
They're going to come out.
That somehow. Yeah. And anger might have messages for you. Sadness may have messages for you, and you're not going to heal them if you keep denying them. If you act like everything is okay, it's not actually going to make it okay. Just in case you were wondering, it actually makes it worse. Just makes it a little bit worse. And here's a little preview of what's coming up next week. So there's mantras in the sense of a meditation mantra, which I have some that I enjoy. And then there's mantras that are programmed moments, like you saying, I have a mantra, would I say this to my daughter?
Yes.
You know, one of my favorite mantras is, I'll figure this out, I always do.
Yes.
That's one that a little over a year ago, I just spontaneously started uttering to myself. There was some weird circumstance and I decided I want to have fun with it. And the expression of that was, you'll figure out, you always do. Oh, I'm totally lost in a neighborhood I don't know. I'll figure it out, I always do. There's not been a single circumstance in my life where I died being lost
figured it out.
because I'm here.
Right.
I always figured it out.
You always figured it out.
And so that's one of my that's become one of my favorite mantras. It's this kind of spontaneous utterance. Like the show? Consider subscribing through my Patreon at patreon.com/lifecoachingwithryan. You'll get early access to shows and potentially a host of other rewards. Want more? You can also find me streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/lifecoachingwithryan, where I play some games and I continue the conversation. I'm pretty active on Instagram. You can find me at instagram.com/educate4, the number 4, life. That's where I do my book club. I record the book club episodes live on Mondays, and then I post them to IGTV. Later, I post them on YouTube. See you next time.